Hello, everyone. Welcome to another YouTube Hangout. Super excited to be here again, back with you. It's been a fun day. I have a new friend, special guest. She is a youth mobilizer. She is a speaker. She is an entrepreneur. She's a podcaster. And she asked me to come on her podcast and say, hey, why don't we do this YouTube Hangout so I could introduce you to my audience as well. Kelly, welcome aboard.
Thank you so much for having me.
Do you want to tell my audience just quickly a little bit more about what you're doing, where you're at? I know we've linked up your stuff in the description, but it'd be great to hear it from you as well.
Yeah, for sure. My work focuses on bridging the gap between youth and industry, particularly on helping young entrepreneurs bring their ideas to light and helping businesses then tap into that innovation. I really believe that youth today are a changed generation, and my work kind of focuses on creating those opportunities for youth to thrive.
Love it. Well, guys, check her out. Her link's in the description. So this is for your podcast. So it's your show, Kelly. Take it away.
Taking over your show.
Let's do it.
So the focus of my podcast and very much that mission is bridging the gap. So creating open dialogues and opportunities for young professionals and aspiring entrepreneurs to learn from mentors and such as yourself in terms of your experience and also wisdom that you picked up along the way. And I know personally with your work, you have quite the library of wisdom and of insight that you've gotten. So I wanted to focus on a little bit in terms of insights that you have that would be relatable to young entrepreneurs and those just starting out.
Let's do it. Let's go anywhere. I'm open. I love the questions. Bring it on.
So to start us off, where did your journey actually start? Like, how did you end up getting into the work that you're doing?
So the first real business that I had was 19, and I had this opportunity to join a software company that was already in existence, and I became an owner versus going to take the dream job that I wanted. I had entrepreneurial tendencies throughout my entire life that kind of went unrealized. You know, I had little businesses on the side and, you know, traded baseball cards and did a whole bunch of different things and made some money at it. But I still thought I wanted to be a banker and have a safe traditional job, mostly because that was my environment. That's what my parents did and my grandparents did. It's just get a job and work for a company. And that's what I thought I wanted to do until university, where connecting with those two people changed my life, and I became an entrepreneur, and I haven't looked back ever since.
I really find it interesting with entrepreneurship because I don't know about you, but when I connect with entrepreneurs, no one actually has consciously always become an entrepreneur or knew that they want to become an entrepreneur. It's kind of something that organically grows and builds over time. For you, when you were first starting out, was it in a similar experience, or how did you, so to speak, find your way?
I think now it's a lot easier to have access to opportunities, at least the awareness. I think for me, if I knew about entrepreneurship and young people becoming entrepreneurs, I probably would have found a way to jump on it sooner. It was really that I happened to connect with these two people in university, and it looked like a cool thing, and I was going to regret not doing it, and so I had to take a shot at it. Honestly, I think Mark Zuckerberg changed a lot of that for a lot of people, becoming this super young, super successful entrepreneur. And now there's so many different resources out there, from YouTube channels and podcasts and interviews, that I think if you're a young person and you have entrepreneurial tendencies, you're probably going to start to realize it a lot sooner because it's in your environment now. Where when I grew up, I'm not that old. I'm 30. What year is it? I'm 36 right now. But still, when I grew up, when I was super young, there was no internet. I had to go to libraries to get work done. I sound like I'm an old man. But it was a limited environment compared to what we have available now. Or think of lots of people who watch my channel are 12 years old and 13 and 14 and 15 and starting businesses. And I think it's so much easier now to know that it's possible to have success. There's a lot more role models to be able to follow, young people who've done it than ever before. And the costs are so much lower to get started compared to before, that a lot more people are taking that bet on themselves. So I'm fortunate that I met those two people and connected in university. Otherwise, I don't know where I'd be right now. But I think for a lot of people, they can get that source of inspiration. Like maybe they come and they hear you speak at an event, and that's the thing that changes it. Or they watch your YouTube channel and you say something that sparks them to want to follow that path. There's never been so much motivation in mentors to follow, and it's only going to get more and more open and available to everyone.
Well, I definitely agree with you in the sense of I've noticed in our generation that we're in a time right now where many are taking kind of our futures into our own hands, so to speak, and shaping them. And I've heard a lot from my peers that's kind of seeing the recession and all these different things that have happened over the last couple of decades, so to speak, that there more and more individuals want to kind of take on to their own future, and they don't want to put in the hands of a corporation or something else. Though when we're entrepreneurs, we end up building our own corporations and becoming that eventually at one point, depending on what your venture is. But with that in mind, because there is such a huge landscape and more resources to create your venture, it's easy to get started, but what do you feel are those defining traits that make an idea good versus great? Like, how do you go from an idea to successful business?
I think if you're looking at personality traits, I think it's across the board. A lot of people think to be an entrepreneur, you have to be an outgoing A-type personality, and it's just not true. If you go and look at whoever the richest people are in the world, and you take away anybody who has inherited wealth, everybody else is an entrepreneur. And most of those people you've never heard of in your life. And the people who are out there being brash and bold, like Mark Cuban or Gary Vaynerchuk, or the people who are yelling and screaming, it's great. It's what they do best. So, like, they should be yelling and screaming because that's what they're so good at. But there's tons of people who are introverted and have had a ton of success, and you've never heard of them because the way that they win isn't by being the face and by screaming and yelling. And so it's not about if you're a type A outgoing personality or not, which I think is important for a lot of people to understand because they feel like they won't have success unless they're like that person. Really, it's about one, having an idea, and a lot of people have ideas. So, but that's the seed, that's the foundation, and then you got to do something about it. Like, start. Understand that whatever you start with is never going to be what you end up with. I'm sure when you started what you're doing, it's not what you're doing right now. Your business will evolve many, 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 many times. And so some people are so preoccupied with getting the perfect plan that they never start. And successful entrepreneurs do something about it. They take that idea that they have and they actually just start. And if it fails, they find another way and find another way and find another way. So it's idea plus starting plus perseverance. Just keep going, keep trying, find another way, find another way. That is common across all successful entrepreneurs. But everything else almost doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter what school you went to. It doesn't matter who your parents are. It doesn't matter what country you're from. All the things that you think matter don't.
Well, very much so. If you kind of view it as, when you're explaining that, I was envisioning kind of like a brick wall, so to speak, between your idea and your success, so to speak, and entrepreneurs will chip at it regardless of how big of a crack we can make until we can break through. But if you just stare at the wall, you're never going to get through it.
I like it. I like it.
Now, I really like. So I resonate with you with your mission around the concept of believe and the work that you do. A lot of the work that I focus on is on a similar concept of passion and finding passion and purpose in what you do. So I was just curious to learn a little bit more in terms of kind of the founding principles that brought together your mission and how that has evolved.
Sure. When I first started, it wasn't about believe, although I feel like it's always been a part of me. I just couldn't articulate it very well. And I thought maybe I needed new marketing. Something felt off. I'm having some success, but I wasn't feeling satisfied. And it felt like something was off. I thought it was just a marketing tagline, and it wasn't. It was much deeper in that I believe everybody has one word that they stand for. It's the subject of my book. One core value that means the most to them, that's more important than anything else, is more important than money. And when you understand what that is, then you can start to design a life and build a business for the entrepreneurs listening that has a lot more purpose. And so for me, believe breaks down into passion. So it's believe in what you're doing, believe in the work, like you're doing the work to do the work, not just trying to chase a buck, but you actually believe in the, believe in the work and your passion for what you're doing. It's then also believe in yourself. So having the self-confidence that you can do this, that you have the skills and you have the talent and you can work hard to make it happen. And then believe that it's going to work out. So the conviction to follow through and have the perseverance. And so that's how believe breaks down for me. And it touches everything that I do, from the environment that I'm in, from the people that are on the wall behind me in my office, from the content that I create that's public facing, from how I deal with my team behind the scenes. Believe becomes the filter through which I see the world, and has had a tremendous impact and changed a lot in my life and my company. Every single major important decision is run through the believe filter, and then we can make an important decision based off of that.
Well, really what you're describing is the sense of that journey of identity, in a sense of, and that can relate to finding your mission and identity as a business for your entrepreneurial venture. But I think it could also relate for when we're young and we're trying to just figure out who we are as well, and understanding that, kind of find that one thing we stand for that defines who we are, and then sets the preface for how we build relationships and or make business decisions and such. So do you have any advice for young individuals who haven't found that identity yet on how we can go about identifying, because you mentioned how it was kind of always in your life, but took a little bit to realize, so where are the signs, so to speak, of how we can find that identity?
Yeah, so, for young people, as you're growing up, you get your beliefs from your parents, mostly. You get your beliefs from your family, your friends, your environment. And a lot of those beliefs support you and have helped you get to where you are. But a lot of those beliefs also are limiting, and they're not all yours. Like, that's not really what is most important to you. And at some point in everybody's life, you have to figure out how many of these beliefs are actually helping me versus it's somebody else's reflection. And one of the exercises, so for me, it's finding your one word. You understand that. That's the self-awareness to then go build a life and a business that matter. To find your one word, it starts by looking at what are all the things that have always made you happy in your life. So think about your favorite song and your favorite movie and your favorite book and your favorite teacher out of the hundreds of teachers and professors you've had. Who is the one that sticks out the most for you when you forget everybody else? What do you love about your parents? What do you love about your best friends and the people who've stuck with you for years versus others who just come in and out of your life? What is it about them? And make a list of all the things that have made you happy. And then what is it about these things that can string together to find the one core value? So for me, it's believe. My parents told me I'm a Castrilli Carmichael and I could do anything that I wanted. Let's believe. My favorite movie is Seabiscuit, which is this movie about this racehorse that is too small and a jockey that's too big and an owner that has no money. So like the underdog, believe story. And so anything that's around believe, I just naturally like better. And it's not something that is just like the flavor of the month. It's not a 2017 thing. It's what you've always been and what you always will care about. I believe in people. I want to build them up. If you gave me whatever amount of money to tear somebody down, I'm not going to do it because it goes against my most important core value. Some people find it easier to go negative, and instead of thinking about the positive things in their life, they think about the negative. So who are the people that you can't stand? Like, you never want to be around this person ever. Maybe it's a family member, maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a coworker, schoolmate. Like, you can't stand these kinds of people. What is it about them that you can't stand? Because they're probably not a terrible human being through and through. They just have some characteristics that you don't like, right? And so what is it? It's great to know. Like, what is it about those people that you hate? And then the opposite is going to be what you stand for. This is what your one word is. And so there's a few other exercises in the book, but that's a good starting point to try to figure out what it is that you stand for. And then if you know, okay, I'm all about compassion. If that's your one word, compassion is so important to me. Then you start to look at your life and see, well, what is not allowing me to be compassionate? what people do I need to maybe eliminate from my life, or what opportunities do I need to now go for to allow me to be more compassionate? If you're going to start a business and be an entrepreneur and be your own CEO, you better do that compassionately. How do you hire compassionately? How do you build a product with compassion, right? And it's great because it'll work. It'll make you lots of money. It'll make you more financially secure, but it's also more fulfilling because you're building a business and a product and a service that is around what your core belief is. And so it doesn't matter what it is, believe, compassion, impact, whatever it is, there's tons of different words. As long as you feel like this is it, having that self-awareness opens up just insane amounts of doors. And if you can figure that out at a young stage in life, it's so powerful.
Well, and to add on to that too, in the sense that when you have that strong sense of identity and confidence, that kind of transpires into your relationships too. Since that other people start to gain a higher respect for you, and in a lot of ways can allow you an opportunity to build a deeper relationship, because you'll find someone else who also believes or connects on that, or is also holds a value of compassion at a high level. And those types of relationships wouldn't be able to form until you first have that clear sense of purpose.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can now attract those people into your life more as well. If you're building a business and you put out a job ad and you want to hire a graphic designer to make you a logo, you don't want just any graphic designer who has the skills. You want somebody who shares the same belief system as you, who loves the mission, because you're going to now not just get their mind, you're going to get their heart and soul, and they're going to give you a much better product.
Yes. And with that in mind, and kind of looking through some of all the different individuals you've spoken to over your journey and in your work with Believe and such, is there any one trait or advice that you've learned from someone else that has kind of stuck with you on your journey?
Some of the biggest lessons are from the people that are on the wall behind me, and I've learned different things from a lot of different people. I think one of the more surprising ones that I didn't expect was Howard Schultz, who is now the former CEO of Starbucks. He just stepped down about 2 weeks ago. And he is all about living your values in your business. And he's been a role model for me in that respect. And he's in the book a couple times, where he set up at a shareholders meeting and somebody asked him, why are you supporting gay marriage? Why? Starbucks was one of the first to support equality in gay marriage of any of the big companies in America. Why are you supporting gay marriage? Like, we're a coffee company. Just sell coffee. Help. I'm a shareholder. Make me money. Don't support gay marriage. It's not a good thing to do. Like, don't be political. Don't take a stance. Just make me money. What are you doing? This is a wrong decision. And Howard got up and he said, you'd expect like a typical CEO, like safe, boring, political, answer, not try to say anything and just avoid it. And he stood up and he said, there's a great YouTube clip of it. He said, the lens through which we made that decision was not an economic one. It was out of the respect for the diversity of our people. And if you think you can make a better return on your money somewhere else, then feel free to sell your shares in Starbucks and go buy something else. And I love that, like taking a stand for your beliefs, even though it may not be the most financial, it may not lead to immediate financial gain for you, because you can guarantee that there's a lot of people who would watch that video and then say, you know what, I love Starbucks now. Starbucks used to just be a coffee company, but I love their mission. I want to go buy Starbucks. You can bet that a lot of the employees are not going to say, I want to work at Starbucks because I believe in diversity. Even if I'm not gay, I still want to go work there because I believe in diversity as well, and I love the mission. And so you may not see the short-term impact, but the idea of valuing something more than money and bringing that to business was really inspirational for me. So that's one of the ones that I've learned a lot from.
Yes. Well, and then very much even in the example, I see your core value belief, like that is an epiphany of kind of using that as a force, so to speak, for in business for good. And in a similar front, I see more and more the area of social enterprise or social purpose businesses growing, particularly among young entrepreneurs. It seems like almost every business that starts has to have a social component or aspect to it. In some ways, I believe it. I know we're using believe a lot. In some ways, I anticipate that this is the way business as a whole will start to move. Do you feel, what is your opinion on that in terms of the value of social enterprise and where we might see that growing?
Yeah, I think customers have to care more about their clients. I think customers have had, I think businesses have had a easier time than in the past, and it's going to get more and more difficult. You see companies like The Honest Company, who we featured in the book too, building $1 billion business around an honesty core value, suddenly taking away market share from big companies who don't have a mission, and they did it in a really short amount of time. It's only going to happen more and more and more and more. People don't have a ton of brand loyalty, and part of what really helps is people want to feel connected to a company that is doing something important. So I believe everybody needs to have some kind of mission to make the world a better place. It could be from selling a great product, right? Like your service or product should be solving a need to help somebody out. But I think also contributing back to your community in whatever way you feel is best. Like, you know, you're a great speaker and you like getting out and rallying people. And I have a YouTube channel and a website. Other people may not be as extroverted or want to share or want to get on a stage and talk. Maybe they do it by supporting a local charity or mentoring kids in their area. The most important thing is that it's something that you feel attached to, that there's a cause that you feel attached to, and it's not just some marketing publicity stunt that you're putting on. It's something that actually means something to you.
Well, it goes back to what you had said earlier about not always having to be an extrovert in order to be able to lead. Some of the most successful individuals that we know, you're right, a lot of them, we actually don't know them because they lead from behind, in the sense that they empower others and aren't necessarily the big poster boy face on a product or service, but have led quietly instead. So I definitely think that's a powerful point. With that in mind, I wanted to take a moment to now reverse the conversation, because I acknowledge that this is still your channel as well, and I'll flip the reins back to you for a few minutes.
I like it. So, I mean, I think of an introvert, extrovert too. One of my favorite top 10s that we did recently was on Ellen DeGeneres, and she says that she's an introvert. And that was actually shocking, because you don't think of Ellen as an introvert. You think of her as this person who's dancing and goofy and joking and a comedian and, you know, asking questions. Why would you want to be on stage as a comedian, and why would you want to have your own talk show if you're just so introverted? And so if you want to be a talk show host, or you want to have a YouTube channel, you want to, you know, be a success on Musical.ly or whatever you're going after, even if you are introverted, it doesn't hold you back from being able to do it. You just have to do it your way. You can't do it the Mark Cuban way. You have to do it the Ellen way and find your path to be able to do it. And so I'm curious for you, role models that you've looked up to or learned from. I'm a big fan of Ball and Success, and so the people that you've met or aspirational mentors, who have you learned from that have been you've learned some good lessons from?
In honesty, I'm asked this question, like, who are mentors and role models, and sometimes I always get stumped when I ask it on the spot, because, and I learn and I struggle with it for quite some time. It's like, Kelly, I should know this by now. I should make a list, and so I'm prepared for an interview. And I realized that the reason why I never had an answer was because my true kind of role models or mentors were actually my peers. It was learning of the stories of 10-year-old entrepreneurs and teenagers who were advocating and standing up to their governments and creating access to education in their communities, that continue to inspire me, but also raise the bar and push me forward. So for me, my answer is those of many probably that are listening right now, and the incredible work that they're doing to find their purpose.
There's a question coming in from J Rise in the live chat. What's the youngest youth Kelly has ever mobilized?
That would be a 4-year-old.
Well, what's the story there? It sounds interesting.
Well, interesting enough, I actually have my first book coming out at the end of the month on January 30th. We're launching, called The Power of Youth. And it features 200 inspirational stories of youth from around the world, over 58 countries represented in the book. And we have as young as 6 in that book. But I think she as well started when she was 4. And she was collecting clothing for her peers in need, because she realized, she asked her dad one day, why do kids on the TV that she saw an ad not have what I have? And so he told her how, and she learned that there were some kids that weren't as privileged as her, so she decided to raise and collect all her clothing, and then she brought it to school, and now has created a movement across the province here in Canada, donating tons of clothes to those in need in different countries.
That's very cool. And so that story's in your book?
That one is, yes. That, and then we have individuals, a 16-year-old who's engineered technologies that help the vision impaired and restore their sight. Then we have individuals who have created multi-million-dollar businesses when they were just teenagers. Some really great things, everything from stories of triumph and struggle and overcoming violence and poverty to creating entrepreneurial ventures and technology discoveries.
I love it. Very cool. Well, good luck on the launch. I've just been through that and still publishing it out there and getting media and all that stuff. So it's a fun journey, and I hope you enjoyed, and best of luck with the new book.
Well, thank you. I think we both have a very similar purpose of helping others find theirs, and so I definitely recommend we're and our dual audiences, to just as a summary, I think overall is find a path of passion and purpose. Once you find that identity, it really does shape your path in terms of everything, in terms of your business, but also your relationships. And if you have that guiding compass to move you in your journey, you'll find your way.
I love it. Very cool. Can people pre-order the book?
Yes, they can. So if you want to connect with me, I should have given you links. It's okay. But if they connect with me, and then on January 30th, if they follow me on Twitter as well at Kelly A. Lovell, that will be a big launch. I'll be doing a live stream at UN headquarters on that day during the launch, and then they can learn all about the power of youth. Very
cool. I love it. Well, for my audience, go check out the link. We'll keep it in the description below. Kelly, if you want to send it off to Sandra, we can update that as well. And however you want to end, how do you want to end your show, Kelly?
Together we can start bridging the gap between industry and youth.
I love it. Very cool. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Kelly, for the time. Continue to believe, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.